This was a truly jaunty group to be part of, bringing me personal growth and a reliable support system that were not to be sniffed at. And as for my being wounded, well, that was my own fault. I had been mistaken to consider myself so smart, and I got my just desserts. I was lucky, in fact, to have been forgiven my mistake where others might have finished me off. I'd had the opportunity to buy decent armor and pick off enemies from a distance, but no, I decided to play the hero. I should have waited for the squad to cover me before leaping into action. But anyway, screw it. Next time, I would be smarter and kill them all. I would take no more prisoners. "What did they want from you?" Polina asked the second I entered the apartment. It took some time to tell them everything, and they listened in silence, interested in the new reality of their home. The only thing I omitted was Fedat. There was no reason for Polina to know about that. I would deal with him later. "Do we have to join the group as well?" asked Polina on behalf of everyone when I'd finished. She was essentially declaring who the boss was around here, and that they would do whatever I said. A very pleasing attitude, giving rise to odd sensations in my chest. "I think it's worth it. But if anyone comes along and starts laying down the law or imposing obligations you don't care for, feel free to redirect them to me or combat." I couldn't exclude the possibility of jiggery-pokery. "If they don't get the message, write me a message via the group chat, and I'll be here in a jiffy to solve any problems." "Excuse me, can I ask a question?" Now then, this was Anya speaking up, looking at me self-consciously. Somehow she reminded me of myself. "Fire away. Don't be afraid, I won't eat you," I said, putting on the kindest face I could muster. "Pfft, you're a fine one to talk about being afraid," Polina interrupted. "What do you mean?" I asked, lost. Polina sighed heavily. "Would you like a cuddle?" she offered. Not for the first time, I froze and stared at the door. "QED," she said with a smile. She was obviously hinting I wasn't the best person to be dishing out advice in such matters, although I was making progress and could interact with the ladies almost normally now. "I get it," I said, raising my arms in surrender. "I don't need a cuddle." "But what if we force it on you? Will you chase us away?" she continued, piling the pressure on. "Or will you just freeze, like a statue?" "Okay, stop. Time out. Pack it in with thoughts like that, otherwise I'll be as afraid of you as I am of everyone else." I led with my Trump argument in an attempt to laugh it off. "Amazing," she said with a shake of the head. "The great Varg, feared by half the dorm, doesn't know how to respond to a fragile girl." "I do too," I disagreed. "Okay, Anya, sorry. What did you want to ask?" The girl was embarrassed and picking at the hem of her dress. "Don't be afraid, ask." "Can I call you Dad?" the troubled girl eventually squeezed out. "Of course you can," I began, before the meaning of her question reached my brain. In an instant, my head began to buzz and my temples tighten. Everything went foggy, and the innocent child gaped at me anxiously. Polina smiled, and Liza, who until now had been quietly drinking her tea, set her cup to the side and puckered her brow. "In that case, I want to call you Dad as well." Liza ran to me and grabbed hold of my arm. As she did so, she stuck her tongue out at her friend, who did not appreciate the gesture. Anya clenched her little fists and timidly approached me from the other side. "Dad, Daddy!" Their indistinct voices came at me as though from underwater, while my mind jumped to protect my consciousness from this cruel world. What happened next was dreamlike. I was taken somewhere and questioned, and I stared vacantly straight ahead, the shock pinning my mouth shut. It happens. You can have a high level, able to procure food without undue effort, and then fall into a half faint at the shock of just talking to a child. More often than not, I felt discomfort with other people. So why was it just these ladies who had such an effect on me? So many questions, all so far unanswered. Anyway, I calmed down and began to think clearly again, but my gaze remained focused on one spot. I was now sitting alone in the living room.